What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds, guys. This video is going to be my review of Doctor Strange. I know it took me a little bit to get this video up, but I had to kind of collect my thoughts about this. But also, I would be remiss if I didn't make mention of the crazy election that happened last night. Now, this is not a political channel. It will never be a political channel. In fact, you'll probably be hard-pressed to find me on social media talking about politics in general. But I did kind of say just a few things on like Facebook and Twitter about what had happened last night. I know a lot of people out there are really, really afraid. There's a lot of mixed emotions going on out there. All I want to say is that the whole objective of this channel and the whole objective of a lot of the art that I make personally is to bring people together rather than to divide them. So the only thing I will say is that the Den of Nerds will continue to be a bipartisan place of nerdy goodness, and we are just going to focus on the things that we see eye to eye on. I personally believe that everything will be okay. It was a very, very interesting election, to say the least. There's a lot of people out there, like I said, that are just afraid and whatnot. I personally believe it'll be fine, but let's get back to focusing on things that we do agree on, and that is probably that Doctor Strange was really, really dope. I don't think there's been a lot of people out there that have seen this movie that have said, well, it's not a good film, or it's bad for this, this, and this reason. I will say this. When I first walked out of the film, I had really, really mixed emotions. It was very similar to when I first walked out of Guardians. I just didn't know exactly how to take it. It was so different than what we're used to in the MCU that I had to kind of collect my thoughts. I went and saw it again in IMAX 3D, and on a slight side note, that new logo that Marvel has, that thing was designed to be seen in IMAX 3D. If you've seen that thing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The perspective, the way that it comes in three-dimensionally, really, really cool. Brilliant. I, once again, didn't know how I felt about it the first time I saw it. When I saw it in IMAX, I was like, yo, that thing's pretty dope. But let's get into the movie itself. So, obviously, by the way, I should say spoilers if you haven't seen Doctor Strange. I'm going to kind of get into the film a little bit. There's a lot to love in the film, but there are some problems with it. I remember originally, and I did a video, and I get way too pumped up about these sort of things, but I did a video where I was like, yo, Doctor Strange is going to be the best film in the MCU. It's going to be a lock for the Oscar. And I think I was half right, because I think on the visual end, it is an absolute lock for best visual effects this year. I think it's going to win the Oscar for that, hands down. But therein lies part of the problem. I think the movie is such a visual spectacle that a lot of things get kind of lost, especially upon your first viewing of this film. It's literally so mind-bendingly crazy that things like plot and narrative kind of take a back seat, and you are literally just blown away at how visually crazy it is. It's the craziest movie I think I've ever seen. What they do with perspective, what they do with action in this film is really, really crazy. I can't think of another movie that did things in this way. So Scott Derrickson and everybody on his team and everybody who helped with these effects deserves a lot of credit. It is a true accomplishment in the sense that I literally don't think there's been anything quite done like it. So on the visual scale, I would have to say that it's absolutely incredible. Some of the action sequences, especially with the Ancient One, I mean, Tilda Swinton was a badass in this film. Her messing everybody up, so cool, very, very awesome. So on the sense of the action, the magic, everything that was going on visually, it's completely stunning, completely blew me away. As far as the narrative itself, I think that while the plot is interesting and there were some really cool changes that they made from the comics, things that I appreciated a lot within the scope of the MCU itself, I thought that the pacing was kind of, for lack of a better word, strange. You kind of jump around a good bit. I felt like certain things were streamlined a little too much and certain things were not given enough time to develop. It really felt like a plot that was putting stuff in front of us only to get to the next plot point, and that is probably my biggest gripe with the film. I mean, it's a great movie. It follows a nice story. The characters are all good, but there's some stuff that just happened in order to make other stuff happen, and so it really felt a little hollow. upon my second viewing, I did enjoy the film a lot more, but I think I kind of saw it for what it was. It's a perfect. You know what I really think the problem is? It is a perfect phase 1 or phase 2 film that just happened to come out in phase 3. I think that if this movie would have come out in phase 1 or 2, and then you got to see Strange interacting more with the Avengers, I think the whole MCU would be better for it. The post-credit scene between him and Thor was literally on par of, as far as from an enjoyment level, for me, as the entire film. I'm not kidding when I say that. A lot of people might think that's a crazy statement, but it's not. Because the interaction of Strange with these other characters within the universe, and the way he handled that is the goodness that the MCU has. So because this film was kind of so isolated and kind of took place so much in the magical realm, I didn't necessarily care for that. So there are issues with plot, there are issues with connective tissue, there are issues with, the characters, some of them not so great. But overall, Benedict absolutely killed it. I thought he was brilliant as Strange. He's really, really perfect for the role. Does great with Tilda, does great with Chiwetel, does great with everybody pretty much. So from an actor's perspective, I thought the movie really, really nailed it. They did a really great job of going out and get great actors, because you need actors to be able to play over these visual effects in order to buy it. Like, one of my favorite moments was when Rachel McAdams comes in, she sees the cloak of levitation, and she reacts to it in a way that we can kind of buy. We can kind of buy it. Like, she's like, okay, and then just kind of moves on. So their interactions with this stuff that wasn't real on set, very, very key to the success of the picture. So the big question for me is, where does this film fall in the MCU? Like, where does it fall in a line with all of these other great films? I think it's a fantastic movie. It's really, really great. The problem here is that the MCU has put out some masterpieces. They put out some films that you could strip away the Marvel stuff from, and they're masterpiece films. The turns in Doc Strange were not epic enough. The villain in Doc Strange was not epic enough. It's a very ballsy way to write the ending, with the time and him doing the time loop and essentially coming to a place where they've already lost, rewinding time, and then going to the dark dimension. That's super ballsy. I give them a ton of credit for that, but there was something really missing. I think at the end of the day, for me, the biggest letdown for me was that it wasn't a darker film. It wasn't a darker film. It was very light. It was very fluffy. They did a lot of stuff that basically was to appease a younger audience and to appease a mass audience. And I'm starting to get this feeling that maybe they are afraid to go dark. Even Civil War, for all the darkness that was in that film, it's not a dark film. It's really not. It's super poppy, comic booky, enjoyable, and everything else. But I'm starting to get a real itch. There needs to be real stakes. There needs to be real stakes. There needs to be real villains that are hateable, that you can absolutely despise, but also kind of understand. Like Loki. So they continue the Marvel formula of not having a super great villain, and so I think that you can kind of get the vibes that I'm putting off. I have some problems with the movie. I don't think it cracks top 5. I don't think it cracks top 5 Marvel films. I think it's in that kind of secondary tier of really solid films, but not elevated to the level of some of these other films. Of course, this is just my personal opinion. I guess I was a little bit let down. It's a dope movie. It's really cool. People should go check this out, and they're selling it as an experience, which I think is really awesome. Moving forward, it is incredible that Doc Strange is going to be a part of this universe now. Those possibilities and him being the Sorcerer Supreme, absolutely awesome. The state of the MCU, it's all well and good, but my personal feeling is that Doc Strange comes up short of my expectations. So I don't know exactly what I would give it. I guess let's go on a B, or C scale, I'd probably give it a B. Just a straight B. Not a B minus, but a B. Not a B plus, but a B. So just, good, a good picture, but just not not absolutely incredible? Okay, guys, so let me know in the comment section, like, what did you think of Doc Strange? Do you share some of my sentiments? Do you completely disagree? Do you think it was the dopest dope? Let me know in the comment section, and be nice to each other down there. This isn't a political channel. We're not doing that in these comments and whatnot, but more than willing to have conversations with you guys about the things we all love. So let's check that nerd card really quickly. There are many cool Doctor Strange villains. There is one in particular that exists in the realms of people's dreams. He's a really interesting villain. I hope we get to see him in the future. What is the name of that villain? Answer the question in the comment section below. Also, guys, I'm trying to reach out to people. Check out the video for the contest. If you won, I need your shipping information. I need to ship out these good prizes to you guys, so make sure you check that out. I also have a ton of really cool stuff coming to the channel very soon. Setting some stuff up, kind of been taking my time, working on stuff behind the scenes, you know, to ramp up for next year. The Den of Nerds isn't going anywhere, so I have a lot of plans, and I hope you're going to enjoy all the content that me and the people I'm working with are going to start bringing to the channel. All right, I hope everybody's having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya.